Okay, cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
Wonderful.
So we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Gift of Health Wellness. And guess what? Today I'm with the producer of the very vegan health bundle that you have been hearing from all these days, from March 1st to March 10th. So this bundle is only available until March 10th. And top experts, chefs, recipe creators, fitness enthusiasts, like they have all come together to provide this wonderful resource. Like if you have to buy this resource individually, it will cost you more than $5,500. But guess what? Just until March 10th, you can get this pretty sweet bundle just for $49. And today with me, I have Melissa, who is the bundle herself. I mean, like she has produced this bundle with Chef AJ. And briefly about Melissa, she went fully raw in 2014, after struggling with chronic gut issues and like other problem, and after transitioning to raw vegan lifestyle, her health completely transformed, and she has helped so many people, help them to experience the incredible benefits of adding more raw food to their lives. And when it comes to her contributions in the bundle, it's worth more than $400. So like it's amazing. I will let Melissa speak about all her wonderful contributions, because oh my God, Melissa, those are all such amazing contributions. So welcome, Melissa. I'm so glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me on. It's so wonderful to be here with you. I'm honored to chat with you today. And yeah, the bundle is such an amazing collection. Like it takes us months to create the bundle for everybody. And we hope you click the link in the description box or go get the bundle, because it's such an incredible collection of things. And yeah, as you mentioned, we have 8 things between myself and my husband. We've included in this bundle. First up is my Align and Awaken Affirmation Meditation Challenge, which is 30 days of affirmation meditations with breath work and visualization and affirmations. Over the 30 days, you say 3,000 positive affirmations with me in those. So it's super powerful. I've had lots of positive reviews already, people saying it helps them with their sleep, like their sleep has improved dramatically, their calmness throughout the day, their belief in themselves has improved as well. So it's really powerful if you put the work in and you actually listen to them. And there's lots of information in there as well. So it's a wonderful collection of videos. But then we also have, my husband has his brand new smoothie ebook, which is nearly 350 pages. There's information in there, like, nutritional information, how to build an awesome smoothie. There's 45 recipes in there too. So there's that. We've got my burger book, which is our raw vegan burgers. There's 144 recipes in there. Tales from the Tailgate, that's our raw vegan travel ebook, because we do a lot of traveling together. We do hiking, backpacking, camping, road trips, air travel. We've stayed at resorts as raw vegans, so we explain how we do that at resorts. And that one is a 300-page book too, almost. There's over 100 recipes in there of stuff that we've made on our travels throughout the last 5 years. So there's that. You get that too. And then you get Meal Plan Volume 3, which is my beginner to raw style of ebook. And you get 90 recipes in there, and there's no dehydrator required. Also, I didn't use any nuts in there, so it's only seeds, avocado, and coconut for the fats. So people who have nut allergies, they can make anything in there, should be fine for them. And then we have Holiday Menu 3, which is our holiday kind of a time stamped. You do this, 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 and you have an 8-course holiday meal ready at 6 p.m. for your guests. And then we also have, I know there's a lot of stuff in there, but we also have a class that we could included in the bundle, where Nate and I show how we make breakfast, lunch, and dinner as raw foodies for 2 people for the day in an hour. So it only takes an hour to make 2 smoothies, 2 lunches, 2 dinners, and we show how we do that all food prep first thing in the morning. So it makes it a lot easier for people to be able to do it. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in the bundle. It's worth it to go grab the bundle because you get so much.
As I said, it's a bundle inside the bundle.
The bundle inside the bundle.
So,
Totally.
yes, so it's so much wonderful. And this is what people need, Melissa. So, like, our audience have questions. They're wondering, like, what is raw food and are like what are the benefits? Why should we even consider eating raw foods?
Yeah, great question. So we here at Raw Food Romance, our goal isn't to make people 100% raw unless they want to be, right? Like our goal is to help people eat more raw food. We want you to include more raw food in your meals, every meal if you can. Try to add more raw food. Even if you still eat cooked food, like we don't demonize the cooked food. We just want to inspire people to eat more raw because it's fresh food, right?
Mhm.
It's enzymatically active. It's easier to digest for the most part, like as you're building your gut. It's got great gut fiber. So does cooked food has good gut fibers as well. But, having the different kinds of fiber can be really beneficial. Exploring more variety. We find it super easy to clean up raw food,
Yeah.
especially because we're oil free. There's no oil or anything like that. It's just like rinse the salad bowl and you're done. You don't even need, it's like so easy for cleanup.
Uh,
Um, it's it's really, really hydrating. So, when you cook food, you cook down the water content. So, it evaporates in the steam or whatever. So a lot of cooked food is drier on the body. And when you're eating more raw food, you're bringing in more structured water, which is more hydrating. According to, some people out there talking about structured water, it's like a different form of water
mhm.
that our body can absorb a lot differently. So there's that. It's just fun. It's more colorful and you can get really super creative with it. And I personally feel so much better on raw. And when people ask me like, why do you choose raw food? I don't choose raw food because I have to or because cooked food is evil or any of those reasons. I don't choose raw for that. I choose raw because I genuinely want it. And I choose food that I want to eat. And I want to eat raw food. So that's what I choose. And I've been doing it for now over 10 years, every single meal raw. And it's just been such an amazing thing. So those are some of the reasons why I think it's beneficial. But again, people don't have to be 100% raw. It's about including more and more and more. And you just feel better because you're like, wow, you're getting that hydration and that enzymatic availability and all that. So yeah.
So, what is the definition of raw food, Melissa? So, like, let's say if I am dehydrating something or steaming something, can that be still considered a raw food?
Yeah, so the ideal temperature, according to Raw Culinary, is roughly, I mean, it depends on the enzyme because some enzymes start to change at around 104 degrees Fahrenheit, up to about 118 to maybe 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So anywhere in there, we like to dry stuff at about 115 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like a really hot summer day. Anything above that is going to start to change the enzymes. And eventually, like when it gets to really hot heats, like, anything over 248 degrees Fahrenheit can actually start to change molecules in the food. It can fuse proteins. It can change starches into acrylamide. Things like that happen at really high heats. I personally feel like the best cooking methods, if you're going to cook food, is boiling and steaming because it doesn't go above about 212 or Yeah, 212 Fahrenheit. So those are safer forms of cooking. You do leach a little bit of the vitamins and minerals into the water or what
Mhm.
have you. It can inactivate some enzymes as well, but it's a much better alternative if people still want to include cooked food.
Mhm.
Steaming and boiling is the best one option,
Mhm.
the best option. But for raw food, it's really basically anything in its natural state, either dried, frozen, or freeze dried. Actually, freeze drying is a really amazing raw food technique for food preservation because freeze drying is the only food preservation method that can retain up to 97% of the nutrition.
Mhm.
So it's an amazing, and all the enzymes are intact, the
Mhm.
nutrition is pretty much intact, and it can last, if stored properly, up to 25 years. So
Wow.
freeze drying is another option. But freezing is really great because it can change the texture of the fiber, and you can make some really cool, unique dishes with the freezing and thawing technique, especially with sprouted chickpeas or lentils. You can
Mhm.
do that and have that softer texture in raw soups and raw stews. Like in the bundle, Chris Kendall has his stews ebook, and that's who I learned the freeze thaw method from. We call it Kendallizing over here. We kendalized the sprouts, right? It's basically just freezing it and thawing it because it makes it softer while still being
Uh-huh.
raw. So, yeah.
Oh, amazing. And also like I love the pictures, and I know like you also like do a lot of demos, and it's like your food looks so yummy. And but people think that, okay, is it just salads that I'm going to eat? So how do I make raw food taste good and not just like salads?
Great question. Yeah, we have I've made many posts over the years about the other things that you can eat that aren't just a salad.
Mhm.
You can make like it's still a salad, so to speak, because you're still eating a bunch of vegetables, but it's just, it's the way you chop things. So you can make like a zoodle dish, like zoodles marinara for like a spaghetti. You can make little meatballs. Our wraps are super popular.
Mm.
Um, because the wraps themselves are just made with fruits and vegetables, a little flax or chia and psyllium. So it's a huge fiber dose, and there's no gluten, no flour, anything like that. It's just dried fruits and vegetables, and you roll up, more fruits and vegetables in your wrap. So that wraps are great to have. We like to do a lot of raw soups and raw stews and raw curries because you can warm the base, like the creamy soup base or the creamy curry base in the Vitamix. If you blend the sauce for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes in
Uh-huh.
the high-speed blender, it actually warms up the sauce. And they call it warmed to raw because it's warmed just enough to be warm, but not be cooked, right? So there's those options as well. And you can make raw pizzas. We make raw tostadas and raw tacos. And ramen, we make this ramen. It's like marinated vegetables on a bed of cucumber noodles, and that's one of our favorite things to eat too. Raw burgers, which you can
Mhm.
get the burger book as part of the bundle. If people buy the bundle, they get access to that book. But there's so many fun things, and I think to make raw food taste good,
Mhm.
it's all about the spices and the technique of how you create it and how you combine things. So
Yeah.
spices are a big thing. We use a lot in our stuff. But yeah, it's definitely more than just smoothies and salads, but smoothies and salads does keep it simple as well. So you can have
Mhm.
a mix of both, right? Have your salads on the busy days, and then on
Yes.
the weekends, make your fun stuff and yeah, just enjoy.
Yes. So Lee is here saying, I'm so excited for all the wonderful raw items. This year, Lisa was a big push behind my purchase, but it is all so wonderful. So this is by Lee and Long.
Excellent.
Amazing. So Lisa, can you eat beans and grains raw?
Great question. So beans, the only beans that we do raw are chickpeas, any kind of pea, so like green peas or speckled peas, black-eyed peas. We also do adzuki beans sometimes, not very often, but lots of lentils, all different types of lentils, black lentils, green lentils, crimson lentils, all of the lentils you can sprout, and mung beans. So
Hmm.
mung beans we do too. So those four, lentils, chickpeas, peas, and mung beans, those
Mhm.
are the four that we sprout because sprouting releases the phytates. It makes it alive. It makes it easier to digest. The nutrition content is more bioavailable. So sprouting is amazing. And we do a lot of that. We freeze the bigger ones like chickpeas and lentils. So again, to make it a little bit softer when we're doing like curries and stuff like that. But as for grains, we don't do a lot of grains. You can sprout some of them. I'm actually going to be making a soup today for a new future recipe book. It's a Scotch broth because I found out that I'm mostly Scottish. So I'm like adventuring into some Scottish cuisine, trying to do it raw. So making a Scotch broth soup, and I sprouted unhulled barley for it. I sprouted it. It gets these little tiny tails and then you just freeze it. So we're going to put that in the soup. So you can sprout some grains. There's also black forbidden rice. And when people
Yeah.
buy the bundle,
Uh-huh.
they get access to the Make It Raw 3 book that I wrote with Chef AJ, which is super cool. And we do a lot of black forbidden rice, which you just soak for 72 hours and it blooms. So it's not really a sprout. It's more of a bloom, makes it edible, makes it more digestible. And it's really delicious. We like to add that. We make the fiesta rice with it and stuff. So those are, we do have like a random few grains. We do sprouted oats as well. There's a company
Yeah.
called 1 Degree, and they make sprouted rolled oat. And I just discovered from the company that when they steam roll, it's only at 118 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's technically considered raw sprouted oats. So that's another grain that
That's so
we
good
do.
to know because even here we get this sprouted rolled oats, but I never considered that as a raw. So it's good to learn that. Okay, so they just steam at 118 degrees.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And that company 1 Degree, they sell them at Costco.
yes,
So
so this
yeah,
is available in Costco. Yeah,
yeah.
here. Like I
So
live in Canada here, and even in Canada, in Costco, they're selling this. But I think maybe the brand name might be a little bit different here. But it's again, it's called like sprouted rolled oats.
yeah. So it's a great way to get some grains in there as well, but
Uh-huh.
sprouted, so they're easier to digest.
Yes. So Lee is asking, how big do you let the sprouts get?
Good question. Usually for the chickpeas or the garbanzo beans, we don't really let them get like much bigger than a couple millimeters, if any. Sometimes they don't. What we do for the garbanzo beans is we soak them for 48 hours. So 2 full days
Mhm.
soaked. And
Mhm.
then we do the following 24 hours of a rinse, drain, soak.
Mhm.
And usually they don't get tails, but you can still eat them.
Mhm.
If you freeze them and thaw them, they're still totally edible. They're sprouted. They just haven't had that stage to pop their little tails yet. Some different brands do sprout a little bit faster. Like I did some brown lentils,
Mhm.
or red lentils the other week, and they all had little tiny sprouts, but like a couple millimeters is all you
Mhm.
need.
Mhm.
And that means they're edible. And I personally prefer lentils with the little tiny tail instead of a big tail, but you can let them go as long as you want, right? As
Mhm.
long as they don't start to go moldy or
Yeah.
funky or anything like that. Yeah. Usually just a small tail is enough. The size of the seed is usually what they say is a good general rule.
Yes. Even like I find green lentils, they're so fast to sprout.
Yes.
So, yes. Yeah, like when I
It's just
compare,
one
uh,
day.
yes, in one day you can get the sprouts. So, yeah, so that's really so amazing. So, like, do we need any supplements on a raw food diet?
Great question. This is totally on an individual basis. I highly encourage people to talk to their practitioner, get blood tests and see where you're at before you decide to take, a bunch of supplements that you might not need. Um, with my personal blood tests, I am above mid-range for B12 and D. So I personally don't supplement at this time. But if my levels were ever to drop, I would definitely supplement. The main ones would be, the standard vegan ones, right? Iron and
Yeah.
B12 and D and iodine and K2 can be another one that people might want more of because if their gut microbiome is really in a state of dysbiosis, they might not be converting K1 into K2. So K2 might be an option for some people, but we choose K2 in the form of freeze-dried raw natto. So
Mm.
we eat freeze-dried raw natto. We'll put like a half a teaspoon or whatever in our dressings. You can't even tell it's in there. But that's our way, our supplement. We like to try to do supplements in whole food form. Like, for example, selenium. We just grate a Brazil nut on our salad,
Yes. Yeah, it's
to
so
get a
rich in
little.
selenium. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, like there are some things, but I always encourage people to go get your blood tested and then go from there. If you need iron, take iron. If you or try to start eating more foods with iron in them, like sprouted sunflower microgreens, like when they're grown in the soil and you get the little sprouted sunflower micro.
Mm.
Those are some of the highest in iron. Like 1 cup, I think it's 1 ounce, which is about 1 cup packed of the sunflower microgreens has like 6 milligrams of iron, which
Mm.
is almost what a man needs in a day. They need 8. So it's like, that's a huge amount. When you have like 3 cups of sprouted sunflower microgreens
Yes.
in your salad, a woman's got her daily needs of iron right there. And that's not including everything else that we eat, right? Included with vitamin C, which helps to absorb iron. So yeah, I mean, you can take supplements on a raw diet. I do recommend if you need it to take the supplements, just like any diet, right? We live in an imperfect world. Um, and it's good to keep an eye on that.
Yes. And as you said, the sunflower microgreens, when I compare all the microgreens, Lisa, I feel the sunflower microgreens, they are so good. I mean, they don't have a distinct taste because when you're eating broccoli microgreens or radish microgreens, they have a distinct taste. But sunflower microgreens, they're so mild and I mean, like you could just eat them like crunchy and nice. So I really love the sunflower microgreens, and as you said, they're so rich in iron as well.
Yeah.
So, like we have another question. So, how do I handle cravings for cooked food?
Oh, that's like such a big one. Okay, so in a nutshell, I personally, but these are my thoughts on cravings. The
Mhm.
majority of cravings, so a craving is a signal that we need something, usually food in general, right? We're looking for calories. And a craving is whatever we habitually choose when we're hungry.
Mhm.
So, when you're hungry, you usually go out for takeout or you make this thing or whatever. It's a habit. So we default to craving what we usually make when we have when we feel hungry, right? So hunger is totally natural and we don't need to control it, but cravings we can change
Mhm.
because it's a habit usually. That it's not counting like cravings when you're out with friends or comfort and all that stuff. Well, I'm talking about like not eating enough because that's the number one reason why people struggle on a raw diet is they just are not eating enough because
Mhm.
it's so low in calorie density. You
Yeah.
have to eat huge volumes to
Mhm.
get the adequate amount of calories you need. And if you go raw and it's been 3 or 4 days where you've been under eating for 3 or 4 days without realizing it because it fills your stomach,
Mhm.
you're not getting enough calories. So you do have to eat more often. You have to chew more volume, like chew your food down so you can fit more in. So there is an adjustment period when you do go raw. But if you go 4 days and you're under eating, like, you're only eating like 1,200 calories, eventually your body's going to be like, I need some density, so you're going to start to crave those old things that you felt comfort from and you felt hearty. So my top tip is to number one, when you have a craving for anything, it doesn't matter what it is, ask yourself, when was the last time I ate? And if it
Mhm.
was a couple hours ago, eat something. It's probably your body just asking for more fuel, and it's okay to eat more because you need to on a raw diet. It's very important to eat more. So grab some fruit, make a smoothie, have a salad, whatever it is, and then see how you feel after you've consumed calories. Most of the time, you're like, I feel better because you ate something, right? So most cravings are just because you need some food.
Mhm.
And then changing your habits slowly over time, eventually those cravings change into different cravings because your habits change. So right now, when I feel hungry, like if, I'm doing lives all day and then after lives, I'm like, I'm hungry, right? I immediately default to raw food because that is my habit. That is my, I'm like, oh, what salad can I make? What smooth? I don't even think about cooked food anymore. It's been so long that I don't think about it. And it just takes time, patience, practice, repetition, all the stuff we know how to build a habit. It's just
Yes.
the same thing, right? You just have to take time. And if you crave cooked food, like have it if you feel you want to, if you're high raw or what have you. But always default to knowing that if you do have a craving, even for junk food, it's usually because your body's looking for fuel and nutrition. So then you can take a step back and say, what can I give my body that will fill that need and not the
Yeah.
craving? So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts on that.
Those are wonderful tips, Melissa. So, as you said, like one of the things that actually deters people from eating raw food is thinking that they have to consume so much volume. It just feels like maybe they have to eat all the time, and like as you said, like chewing, eating, and as that is not calorie dense. So, like, what tip would you suggest for people like who are thinking, okay, is that like I need to eat all the time? Like,
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah, I know it does seem like you do need to eat all the time. And yes, it does take a little longer to eat a bigger salad. Of
mhm,
course, like Nate and I take about 45 minutes to eat our big salads with dinner, but we're watching a TV show, which is usually an hour. So, the time goes by anyway. So there's that. But we eat roughly 4 times a day. So we'll get up first thing in the morning. We'll have a couple hundred calories of fruit. So
mhm,
whole fruit, we'll have like 2 or 3 bananas or 2 or 3 mangoes or whatever.
mhm,
First thing in the morning. So we get around 2 to 400 calories first thing after we drink our water. Then we
mhm,
go for our walk or we have our morning workout,
mhm,
fueled by that fruit. And
mhm,
then when we get back, then we make our 600 or so calorie smoothie. So
mhm.
before lunch, we've already consumed about 1,000
Thousand.
calories,
Mhm,
roughly. And,
mhm,
which is like half the day's needs or just under half the day's needs. Then
mhm,
for lunch, we have a big fruiting vegetable salad, which is where we have most of our hydrating vegetables,
mhm,
so we don't have to go to the bathroom overnight. We try to keep our hydrating vegetables in the day.
mhm,
So that's like lots of tomatoes, lots of cucumbers, lots of bell peppers, a lettuce, and we have a lower fat dressing with that salad. And we
mhm.
usually play chess while we eat. It takes a half an hour. We'll play like 2 games sometimes while we're doing that.
Uh,
Then we have our dinner. Sometimes we'll have snacks in between. We'll just chop some apples or whatever.
mhm,
We'll grab a cup of grapes, snack on that while we're working. And then dinner is typically a more dense in the terms of like there's fats in our dinner. So we'll
mhm,
put like avocado or we'll make a cashew dressing or
mhm,
tahini dressing is one that we really like as well. And
mhm.
that salad is huge. And that's the one that takes like 45 minutes to eat. But it's like we try to fit as much variety as humanly possible in there. We go through our fridge. We just take everything out of the fridge and we're like, let's put this all in the salad. So there's like dark leafy greens, vegetables, radishes. We put sprouts in there. Sometimes we'll do tomatoes at night, but we don't do as many as we do during the day. And then that's when we have our creamier dressing. So that salad is usually around 600 calories. Lunch is around 500 calories. Any snacks, so we average around 2,400 calories a day, give or take. But that it's not the same as cooked food because with cooked
Yeah.
food, I find it takes more time to prepare it, less time to eat it. With raw
Mhm.
food, it's less time to prepare it, more time to eat it. So it's
Okay.
like, you're still spending time eating and
Yeah.
preparing. It's just a little different.
Mhm,
And yeah, you don't have to eat all day. Of course, if
mhm,
you're hungry, I do
mhm,
recommend people eat. But
mhm.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like, an all day affair.
Mm. Yes, thank you so much, Melissa, because those are like those are the questions that just keep hounding you, and sometimes people wonder, oh, should I go or not? But you have provided such a wonderful resource in the bundle, so like even all these questions can be easily answered in the bundle, and you have more, and like you're just showing by example, okay, how do you cook or prep for two people, like if you're making raw, and it's not just like salad. You have your burger book, you have your, and okay, what do I do when I'm traveling? So you have, as you said, like almost like 400 pages or 300 pages book, like answering all these questions.
Mhm.
So make sure, guys, as you can see, like this is such a wonderful resource. So we have pasted Melissa's link here. Make sure you download this. And as you can see, there are so many wonderful resources here. So thank you so much, Melissa, for your time. And we really appreciate you coming and answering our questions.
You're very welcome. I'd love to come back too.
Yes,
More
we
someday.
should
Yeah.
definitely have another conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I know I like to talk, so it's hard.
Yes, because I know like our audience has a lot of questions. Like again, we'll get together, Melissa. We can do an hour-long session because yes, people have so many questions and they would love to have you here.
Yes,
So
it would be my honor. Just let me know and I'll be there.
sure. Thank you so much, Melissa. So
Welcome.
good luck with everything. And yes, we will be seeing you.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much. It was such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you,
Mhm.
guys.